Hi, my name is Jacey Huinker, and today I'm going to be talking about my strategic plan for my company, HelloFresh. HelloFresh was founded in 2011 in Berlin, Germany by Dominic Richter. It is a kit delivery company, and so for those of you that don't know what this means, they take ingredients for certain recipes and they ship them directly to your house, so you have the ability to cook new recipes with the ingredients that they give you in the comfort of your own home without having to grocery shop. And the vision, mission, and objectives are here for you to read. The first analysis is of the industry, and this uses Porter's Five Forces model to look at it. The first category is threat of new entrants, which for HelloFresh is high because there isn't really anything proprietary about HelloFresh. It's pretty easy to imitate, as can be seen by the many other meal kit delivery companies that are out there nowadays. Some of them, for example, Blue Apron, Home Chef, many others. And so it makes the barriers for entry low for other competition and making the threat of people coming into the industry high. The bargaining power of buyers is also high because between all of these meal kit delivery companies, the products are pretty similar. While the recipes might vary, for the most part, it's similar. And so it makes it easy to change for customers. As well as one of the things the book talked about was if a company has a low profit margin, it's easy for the bargaining power of buyers to also increase. And HelloFresh's profit margin in 2020, according to Reuters staff, was only 9 to 11%. So that is where that is. The bargaining power of suppliers is kind of in the middle because at first there's a ton of suppliers out there for the products that HelloFresh uses. And so that brings their power down a little bit because there is other people to choose from. However, they gain power back because they serve many other industries like grocery stores and restaurants. And so if HelloFresh doesn't give them the business they want, they can always go somewhere else. The threat of substitutes is also high. Things like Uber Eats and DoorDash are becoming very popular for delivering meals to homes, as well as grocery stores are now delivering groceries to home as well, just like HelloFresh kind of is. And these substitutes also impact HelloFresh because it creates a price ceiling for them because they don't want to set their prices too high or they'll lose their customers to competition. And finally, as mentioned, the competition in the industry is quite high. There's lots of meal kit delivery companies. Although HelloFresh does have a high percentage of the market, according to Yao 2020, they do have 50% of the market share. The next analysis is the SWOT analysis, or the analysis of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So this here is the strengths and weaknesses of HelloFresh. Firstly, one of the biggest strengths of HelloFresh is their ability to focus on sustainability. Their focus on making the packaging, making all their products sustainable for the environment, and making their carbon footprint as small as possible is one of their biggest strengths and why they attract as many customers as they do. Another strength is their ability to market. They have used what they like to call an influencer army, and their marketing campaign has been extremely strong and valuable in their success the past couple of years, and that will be touched on a bit later. Similarly, their ability to use data analytics has also been huge for their success. This use of data analytics or a subscription commerce model has helped them to be able to track and trend demand and inventory and help them to develop kind of like a just-in-time inventory and save a lot of money for their company and give the freshest ingredients to their customers. Probably their number one strength out of all of these is their ability to adjust products to fit customers' needs. Their menus are changing every week. They have recipes for every type of diet, and they're always trying to make things better for their customers, as well as they make the use of HelloFresh super flexible. You can cancel any week, you can skip. They make it a very user-friendly experience for all their customers. And finally, their focus on high quality products and suppliers. They do not just choose any suppliers. They take the time to choose local and fresh suppliers for their ingredients so that the products can get directly from the farm to their customers as soon as possible. Their weaknesses, on the other hand, running a healthy food-based company with high quality products has a lot of operating expenses, and thus why they can't necessarily bring down their prices for servings. Another weakness is while they're trying to improve their sustainability, they're running into issues with making packaging fully recyclable and a lot of other things where things aren't quite sustainable yet. They're hitting road bumps in that. Also, a weakness that was found in the research was employee satisfaction and management. While Dominic Richter is an extremely successful manager and CEO of the company, many people don't agree with the way he runs the company at the same time. And finally, the lack of a factor that makes them proprietary or different from the others. And that's something I'll touch on throughout this whole presentation, is the importance of differentiating themselves from the competition. Some opportunities and threats for HelloFresh. A big one is the geographic distribution of the population. People aren't living right next to grocery stores anymore. They're 30, 40 minutes away. And so the luxury of having food delivered to their house is huge for these people. A opportunity and a threat is women entering back into the workforce. As more women enter the workforce, a threat is they don't have much time to cook anymore, and they're ordering out more, ordering takeout or heat and eat meals. But an opportunity for HelloFresh is to give these women a option to continue to cook for their families, but in a quicker and still healthy manner. Similarly, it fits into the healthy lifestyle trends of the society today, focusing on bettering themselves and eating healthier. They have great healthy options of their meals. HelloFresh might be considered a luxury item for some people, and so the increasing minimum wage makes an opportunity for it. Internet is an opportunity and a threat, because while more and more places around the world are gaining internet, some parts of the world still lack the access, and therefore HelloFresh is a internet-based organization, and that's how you order your meals, and so without it you can't necessarily use it. And finally, the COVID pandemic is also an opportunity and a threat. It's a absolutely huge opportunity for HelloFresh. According to Denton 2020, HelloFresh gained an additional 1 million customers just from the year 2020 alone because of the pandemic. People didn't know where to turn for their groceries anymore when everything shut down, and meal kit delivery companies like HelloFresh stepped into the light at a great time. But it also was a threat, because they were necessarily not able to deliver things on time, as well as the threat of the pandemic lifting. Will they continue to keep the same amount of customers now that grocery stores are opening back up? So this is just a quick analysis of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of HelloFresh. Next is the value chain analysis, and this looks at the internal value chain of HelloFresh and how they run. So the first piece of the value chain is inbound logistics, and for HelloFresh, this is farm fresh to consumer. And what that means for HelloFresh is they have a huge emphasis on making sure that they have the freshest and highest quality ingredients, and they get them to their customers as soon as possible. They focus on being very efficient and using that direct to consumer subscription commerce model. They're able to keep their inventory low and match the demand as closely as possible. The way they can measure this, the success of this, is looking at inventory turnover numbers as well as food waste percentage numbers, because the less food they're able to waste, the better they're doing as well. Next is operations, which for HelloFresh, this is a focus on environmentally friendly operations. As mentioned, they have a huge focus on sustainability, and at this current time, approximately 85% of their packaging is actually recyclable, which is huge. They continue to find ways to be sustainable and to make their operations as friendly for the environment as possible. And so to measure the effectiveness of this, they can use the percentage of the products that are recyclable and sustainable to make sure that keeps increasing, as well as operating expenses. As mentioned, operating expenses for HelloFresh are quite high. And so if they're able to lower this, they will see great success in this piece of the value chain. Next is outbound logistics, and this is called efficient distribution for HelloFresh. HelloFresh, to cut down on their carbon footprint and help with the operations, they really want to focus on efficiently distributing their products. And so this is finding the best route for their delivery trucks to get the food to the customers as fast as possible, hitting on their inbound logistics, as well as being the best for the environment, which hits on their operations. So it kind of ties them all in together. And so to track this, they use what's called last mile data, and it's the data they collect from their delivery trucks to make sure that they're using the most efficient route possible to get all the food to their customers in the quickest and best time, and while also helping the environment. The next piece is marketing and sales, which for HelloFresh, it's their influencer-heavy marketing style. Also known as their influencer army, HelloFresh has made a huge impact and success through their social media marketing. They knew that they needed to reach out to some of their target audience's favorite people, which for them, 80% of their customers are 30 to 50-year-old women. And so they decided to hit on social media influencers and famous celebrities to really promote their company and get this target audience hooked on their company. And so, to measure the effectiveness of this, it's actually quite easy. The celebrities and influencers have codes with their name in them to give discounts to customers. And so they can measure the success of each specific influencer by the number of codes that have been used. And this measures their ability to acquire customers, and it measures customer acquisition. Finally, the last piece of the value chain is service. And for HelloFresh, this means improving service response times. For HelloFresh, they have recently kind of tried to improve their service times on their website. And so they actually added a chatbot named Freddie, who has kind of helped with quicker responses and quicker help to customers. And so just from adding this Freddie, the chatbot, they have decreased response times by 76%, which is insane. And so if they're able to continue to use Freddie and continue to see these response times decrease, that would be their way to measure effectiveness. And so this just shows all the metrics used to measure the different pieces of the value chain. I'll also touch quickly on, so the other piece, links of the value chain, general administration, as mentioned, Dominic Richter is the man who created the company, and he has quite a few other people on his leadership board at this time. But their effectiveness needs to be measured closely because as of lately, according to Comparably, their employees rate their leadership at a C+, which is not ideal and not very highly ranked according to all the big companies in the United States. The next category, procurement, is the purchasing of the inputs for the company. And HelloFresh actually uses a program called Traction, which this program helps them monitor the products and the suppliers that they're using, which is huge, so they can make sure that they're continuing to use the best suppliers with the highest quality products. Technology development is very important for HelloFresh. As mentioned, they use data analytics closely in order to manage their inventory and consumer demand. And so they've recently adopted a new program named Cloudera, and this program has helped them analyze 3 times the amount of data each year. And so it helps them to gather more data to better trend future needs for the company as well. And finally, human resource management. Personio has recently taken over kind of helping with human resource management at HelloFresh, and they have kind of made the whole process of HR automated, and so employees have found it easier to apply for PTO and different things that HR would normally do. And so these are kind of all the pieces of the internal value chain of HelloFresh, and these are the metrics that can be used to measure them. Next is the business strategy of HelloFresh. So business strategy is composed of 3 main pieces: cost leadership, differentiation, and focus. HelloFresh, as mentioned, isn't necessarily the cheapest meal kit delivery company, but it also is not the most expensive. It's pretty comparable to the others. And so this isn't necessarily something extremely important that they need to focus on, in my opinion. The next piece is huge for HelloFresh. From my analysis, that is what I've gathered. Differentiation. They've tried to differentiate themselves with their brand image and their strong influencer-heavy social media marketing. But obviously, it has worked to bring them where they are in success, but they need to continue to find new ways to differentiate themselves from the competition in order to stay on top of the industry. And finally, their focus isn't necessarily on a target audience per se. While women are their largest audience, it's not necessarily who they focus on, but rather their focus is mainly on sustainability and just making a better impact on the world and leaving a better mark from their company. And so from my analysis of the business strategy, the modification I would make would be to improve the differentiation strategy. HelloFresh needs to continue to find ways to separate themselves from the competition because, as we've said, it's a very saturated market. There's tons of meal kit companies nowadays. And so if they're able to do this, they will continue to be the most successful company in the industry. Next is corporate strategy. HelloFresh has used acquisitions and partnerships as their main ways for this strategy. And so in recent years, they've actually acquired 3 different companies underneath their umbrella. And so the first was Green Chef in 2018, which Green Chef was able to add a great variety of menu options, including organic, vegan, and gluten-free options to the HelloFresh family. Similarly, in 2018, HelloFresh acquired Canada's largest meal kit provider, Chef's Plate. And Chef's Plate also brought new important pieces to the team. They brought help in the areas of procurement, marketing efficiencies, as well as technology. And finally, a huge acquirement for HelloFresh happened in 2020, and it was Factor 75. This is a US-based company focused on heat and eat, ready to eat meals, and this has been brought a huge new direction for the HelloFresh family to reach, which will be talked about later in the project as well. And so that was all three of these have been great acquisitions for the company. With partnerships and alliances, there's two main ones that have happened recently that have helped HelloFresh. The first was with Sodexo, and this is a food service and management company that has helped HelloFresh to create a program for college students, and which is huge in my opinion. I think college students would love to find if HelloFresh was able to lower the prices, a cheap option for making meals that got delivered right to their door. And another alliance and partnership that they had was with Pratt Industries. And this is working on improving the company's sustainability and packaging. And they're working towards making a cardboard box for the package as well as other packaging that is 100% recycled, which is huge for HelloFresh's mission and goals. The modifications that I found with my analysis that could come to the corporate strategy would be sharing activities between businesses. These three acquisitions, as well as HelloFresh, all do very similar business. And so if they are able to find ways to share value chain activities between one another, it would help them save so much money in operating expenses. And another modification would be the consideration of entering brick and mortar stores. Blue Apron in recent years found success entering brick and mortar stores by selling $154 million in stores in 2018 alone. And so this would be something with the addition of the ready-to-eat meals from Factor 75, HelloFresh could consider entering the brick and mortar stores. Next is international strategy, which overall HelloFresh is an international-based company. Being out of Berlin, Germany, it has from the start basically been an international company. From month 3, it was already in 4 different countries, and now it's actually in 14 different ones, which you can see here on the slide. And so international strategy has been a huge piece of this company from day one. From the textbook, it seems that the style of HelloFresh's international strategy is a multi-domestic strategy, which means that they work on adapting their products and services to fit the local market it's serving. And so, as mentioned, HelloFresh has a variety of menus and product options, and so it's very apparent that whatever country they are in, they adapt their menu and offerings to match the diet habits and cultural needs of that country, which is really cool, and it makes for great success, and the customers are very attracted to this company for that reason. While this strategy does focus on flexibility and customer adaptation, it doesn't necessarily focus on low costs, which as can be seen by HelloFresh's high operating costs. As well as participating in 14 countries with HelloFresh, they've talked recently about wanting to send their new US-based companies internationally as well, the other way. And so this would be huge for HelloFresh to send those new companies international as well. The modification I found that could be done to the international strategy for HelloFresh would be transitioning to more of a transnational strategy. This strategy, while it still focuses on adapting to the needs of every country and cultural needs, it also focuses on lowering costs, which would be huge for HelloFresh as well. Next is the corporate entrepreneurship strategy. This strategy is focusing on finding an opportunity and making sure you have the resources to enter that new venture for the company. And so the opportunity for HelloFresh at this time, as has been mentioned, is entering a new line of products. After purchasing Factor 75 for $277 million, HelloFresh now has the company and opportunity to develop a great new line of products, these heat and eat meals, for customers that don't quite have enough time for the HelloFresh meals, but still want to buy their products. And HelloFresh has shown that they already have the resources for this. As mentioned, they already purchased the company, and they already have distribution centers from their HelloFresh centers, but they also gained the ones from Factor 75 as well. And so, with the opportunity and resources, this is the time to enter this new line of products. Um, According to the textbook, the strategic action would technically be called new product introduction. And I think this line of heat and eat meals that Factor 75 brings to the table could be huge for HelloFresh to take on at this time. So honestly, I don't necessarily think there's any modifications that need to be done to this strategy. I think they should really just focus on capitalizing on the opportunity at this time because it is huge. People are busy in life and sometimes they think that even the time it takes to prepare a HelloFresh meal is too long. And so offering their meals in a heat and eat option would be huge for these customers as well. And finally, as mentioned a couple times, HelloFresh's social media strategy is one of their biggest strengths. HelloFresh has a very strong influencer army that has allowed them to make great progress and success on the social media market. They've been able to attract so many customers through these influencers and through their discount codes, and it has really brought a ton of their customers to their website. Not only have they used social media with their influencer army, but they've also used Twitter in a different way. It also kind of fits in with their strength of being adaptable and flexible with customers' wants and needs. On Twitter, they've actually done different interactive posts, and one of those is polls, and they actually poll their customers to see what kind of meals and menu items they want to see in the next couple weeks. And so this is just another way that HelloFresh interacts with their customers and makes sure that they are always fitting their needs first. The only modification I would say to HelloFresh's social media strategy is to keep diving in with the influencer army. However, just tweak it slightly and target more of a college, younger based audience. While their target audience has really been 30 to 50-year-old women, I think that college students and young 20-year-olds are looking for an option like this as well. And so if they were able to maybe use things that apply to them more, like different celebrities, maybe TikTok, different ways to market more to this population would be huge. And I think they could find success with them as well. The only catch with this would be to maybe also find ways they could have lower cost options for this audience as well to match it. And so, from my analysis of all these different strategies of HelloFresh, I have come up with the following 5 strategic recommendations. The first is that the addition of heat and eat prepared meals will provide another great option for customers and help differentiate HelloFresh from its other competition. As mentioned, this would be a great thing for the company. It would set them apart. It'd be a great differentiation strategy, and it would also help retain more customers and keep their options open for weeknights when maybe they don't even have time for HelloFresh meals to prepare. The second recommendation would be to diversify products into brick and mortar stores to attract a different audience and increase success. As mentioned, Blue Apron saw great success with this, and so HelloFresh, whether it's with their own products, with the new heat and eat meals, I think that they could spread their way into the brick and mortar stores and find more success that way, which would also increase their diversification and differentiation, all helping to improve their competitive advantage. Next, it would be capitalize on the priority of sustainability and marketing and social media to target customers who want to support companies like this. Honestly, I maybe saw once in a while on social media that HelloFresh focused on sustainability, but now that I've been a customer and I've been doing this research, it's amazing the things they're doing to be sustainable and to help the environment. And so if they capitalize on this and emphasize it in their marketing and social media, I think they'll attract so many customers that want to support companies that are working in this way. Fourth, I would suggest to modify and advance the company's data analytics and subscription model to continue to improve the ability to trend customer data and demand and inventory. If HelloFresh is able to continue using this awesome subscription model to track inventory and trend demand, it would be huge for saving costs as well as matching the needs of their customers. And so if they're able to continue to work with this same program but can tweak it and advance it along the way, I think they'll find great success. And finally, continuing to search for ways to lower expenses to improve cost leadership while still maintaining the integrity of the high quality ingredients. I think that's key. HelloFresh prides themselves on the high quality ingredients that they offer customers. And so to cut corners and just find cheaper options to lower costs would not be worth it. HelloFresh needs to find a way, maybe other ways, maybe in their production, in their distribution, maybe not necessarily with the actual products, to lower operating expenses would be huge, to maybe help improve their cost leadership, which would also aid in helping their competitive advantage overall. So in conclusion, it can be seen that HelloFresh has found great success in the past few years, especially with COVID-19 pandemic this past year. But who knows where it'll go from here? As the pandemic lifts and as people are returning to grocery stores, will HelloFresh be able to retain their customers? Personally, from my analysis, I feel that with the addition of some of these strategic recommendations that I offered, HelloFresh could really continue to see success in the market. They already have a great foundation, and just making little tweaks here and there to differentiate themselves would really continue to keep them at the top of this industry. Here are the references that were mentioned in the slides. My other references can be found on the reference list in my paper. Thank you so much for listening.